88 Films.
Oh, shit.
Take one.
All
right, we're back.
Yes, sir.
Today we have a special guest, but first we have my host, Andy.
What's up?
Andy Lobos.
Yes, sir.
I'm Briss. And today we have a special guest, his first podcast. I'm really excited because low-key people on Twitter have been really asking for it.
Tweeter.
We have the homie Corey.
I'm here. What's good?
What's good?
You know, I must really love you if I came on this because your boy does not like public speaking or anything of this sort.
No, yeah, definitely. It was funny because you said, I remember even they were talking, my homies were talking about like Charlie Dynamics, Q, and then you were like, yo, that's the only podcast I'll do. Like,
yeah, I mean, like, low key, I want to be on Full Size Run one day.
Yeah.
but
Sick. I can
but
see
dude,
that.
I just have a hard time like being on camera. Like, for me, I just like I like my work to speak for itself and like, you know, kind of carry what I do. But, you know, obviously as the brand gets bigger and I get bigger, like I have to do things like this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Thank you for having me. This is like great practice, but you know, your boy still gets scared.
No, definitely. It's a scary thing. And for me, it's the same thing. I'm kind of the same way. I'm very like quiet and stuff like that. But low-key, I've noticed that people kind of get to know you in this space more.
Yep.
And they're like, we've noticed even like the people coming into the store that they're like, oh, like we know you now.
Yeah.
So it gives people kind of like a, you know, with your brand, we'll get into that soon, but with your brand, it's going to get people be like, all right, we see the face behind it and we see what he's about.
Yeah, it's cool because like a lot of the collaboration projects that I've been doing lately are like that I've done like over the last year or so. Like they always want like a video component with it. Yeah. So I always like try to give a piece of like, oh, why I did this or what's my story or this and that. And the outcome of that is always really good because I think people, I mean, now in this generation, it's more so about buying into a person of why you support something. So like if someone could relate to your story or, you know, relate to why you designed something and you're like physically telling them, then I think that that's super important it's like one of the most important selling points of something. And it's just also like it helps build a connection with the consumer. And like, you know, even if it's like a younger kid, they're like, I come from the same place that you come from and they can relate to it and like align with what you're doing. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, that always helps. So we'll go back, kind of tell your story. How did you get into like this world, like sneakers, skateboarding, and all that stuff? How did that come about in your life and what age and stuff like that?
That's crazy. I don't think anyone's asked me that in a long time, but I think sneakers from an early age, like my grandma, like my most vivid memory of like my first like sneaker. My grandma bought me a pair of Fire Red 5s when I was like going on a trip to Las Vegas with her. She's like, oh, you need some new shoes. And I think she used to go to the Sauce and Swap meet and she came home with those. And obviously like I'm a super young kid, so I don't really know much about like, you know, I don't even think there's probably hype back then, but it was like, you know, Michael Jordan hype. But when she got me those, I was like, damn, like I'm so hyped. Like I finally got some Jordans, blah, blah, blah. And I think from that moment on, like I just became somewhat of a sneakerhead, but like, you know, obviously I'm a kid. It wasn't like I'm collecting. It was just more to be fresh.
Yeah.
And as I got older, like I started skateboarding, I think around like, maybe like 13 or something like that. And the thing that I was having trouble with was obviously I'm black and like skateboarding back then for black people wasn't like as big as it is now. Like there wasn't many black skateboarders and like, you know, people didn't appreciate black skateboarders, I guess, in a sense. So when I would go skate, like I had to lace up some like DCs or like S or audio or something like that. And, you know, obviously when I'm off the board, I'm not wearing that stuff. I want to be fresh because when I'm at school, it's like, I can't pull up in those skate shoes. I'm going to get clowned because nobody knows what that is. Yeah. But the funny thing about that is like now, like all the like high-end brands and like all the trendy stuff is skate shoes. You know what I mean? So it's like, it just shows you like how trends come back around. But so that's how I got into sneakers early on. My grandma kind of sparked that. And then skateboarding kind of came later down the line. And then like at one point, the two just kind of merged together, I feel like. Like I discovered like Nike SB like super early on. Like when I used to go to the Venice Beach skate park, like Danny Supa was like a local. And I remember I was a little kid and I went to his crib to get a board, like, cause I used to be like annoying, like little skate rack kid, like, yo, you got any extra boards or whatever? So I went to his house in Venice and he was like, oh, like you want some shoes? Cause it was like, I think it was like right when Nike started around the time. And it's funny because I don't remember exactly what was there, but it could have been possible that he had like, you know, Supas and Zoo Yorks and things like that. And I chose a pair of URLs, like I don't know if you remember the Zoom URL, but like it was like an early, like just like skate model. Yeah. And I was so hyped on those. Like they probably didn't even fit me or anything. Like I don't remember what size he was, but I was a little kid, you know what I mean? And like I was just hyped that he was giving me a free pair of shoes. And I was like, oh damn, these are Nikes, like blah blah. And I think I like skated the hell out of those and then like handed them down to someone else. And kind of fast forward later in life, like I got some like Pro Bs. I think they're the red grip tapes. Is that what they're called? They're like the burgundy ones. Yeah. And that kind of just like sparked a whole new thing. I was like, damn, like I could wear Nikes like to skate and I don't have to like change my shoes when I'm off the board. And by this time I was living up in Sacramento and I had this Filipino homie, William, and he like introduced me to like Nike Talk and ISS forums and NSB.org and all that stuff. And I remember we would like skate all day and then just go to his house after and just like spend hours on the computer, like on forums, just like looking at all the SBs. And like, I remember like he would just educate me on like, yo, this is like Heineken's, this is Bucks, this is Paris Dunks, like this, that, and the third. And I just kind of fell in love because like, obviously like our connection, me and him was already sneakers and we loved like Jordans and, you know, all the regular Nike stuff. But like when I found the SB stuff, I was like, damn, they're like doing crazy storytelling through this. Like I'm a skateboarder, like I could wear these when I'm skating and like still be fresh. So it was like Nike SB like really like, you know, opened up my eyes to like really loving sneakers and like collecting sneakers. But at the time period, it was like resale culture was a thing, but it wasn't as crazy today. But I just remember like $1,000 back then sounded like so much money, you know what I mean? So what I used to do is I used to scour the forums for like beat heat, is what I used to call it. Like anybody that was selling like beater, like whatever it was that, you know, like whether it be Heineken's, Cali's, like anything that was beat that I could get for the low, I was buying it. Yeah. And I would wear it for like a couple of weeks and then I would flip it and then buy some more stuff. And like, that was kind of like a continuous cycle. And I remember I met this girl. She worked at this store next door to me that I worked at in Sacramento called Icon, and they had an SB account. And she wore the same size as me. So she would sell me all kind of stuff, man, for like the super low. So I had a lot of heat like early on, but like it was all like second, like, you know, hand me down, like heat, you know what I mean? But as I got older and started getting more money and like appreciating stuff, like I started buying stuff new and getting plugs, obviously, too. Like I remember like a bunch of my friends were cool with the guys at Hot Rod in West LA. Yeah. And I would go there and like get stuff from there, or like 9 Star. I don't know if you remember 9 Star. I used to get a lot of stuff from there. And then even up in Sacramento, there was a shop called PLA. And we had a FTC also, and they would plug me. I remember like Purple Pigeons. They used to like hold me down. I don't know. There's a point in time in my life where like I just like got smarter instead of working harder. Yeah. Yep. And I was just like, yo, like I'll give you $100 on top to hold me down on this. Like even Jordan's, like my first camp out experience was for, I want to say like grade 5s. And like I camped out all night, and it was at Arden Mall in Sacramento. And like I remember like just like how chaotic it was, like, you know, sleeping, actually like being outside all night. And then like when those mall doors open, like there was like 5 different shoe stores in the mall, like Champs, Chic, Foot Locker and all that. And just like when the door opened, everyone would just run to each store. And like, you know, I didn't end up getting the shoes. And I was just like, I did that another time. I think it was for DMPs or something like that. One of those shoes, Bread 11s. I don't remember what it was, but I was like, I'm not doing this ever again. You know what I mean? So I was like, I need to find people that work at these stores and like build a connection with them so I could like skip this, because one of the things my mom used to do for me every year for Christmas was like whatever Christmas Jordans came out, like I could get them. Yeah. So I would just like try to skip the camp out as much as I can and just find someone that I knew that worked at the store.
That's sick. It's crazy that you bring that up because I remember lining up at malls and you're lined up outside the mall, and in the mall you really do have options, and you have to run to. You gotta pick like, all right, I'm gonna go to Champs, I'm gonna go to Foot Action, Robert Wayne, like every store they had them.
And it's crazy too because like people would go get their stuff like and then try to jump in another line and like double up, triple up. You know what I mean? But I don't know. In a sense, like I kind of miss that, man. Like I feel like the current climate of sneakers, it's like it's not fun like that. Like I remember being in line and like meeting people and like making friends and like, you know, people that you still know today. But now it's like the internet, like people don't even leave their house to resell. You know what I mean? It's like you gotta or they don't leave their house to buy. You know what I mean? It's like you get it off foot sites. They got a bot. The bot is camping out for you, and then you know you resell it straight to StockX or you're reselling it straight through Instagram, and you don't really have to like pull up on anyone or do a hand-to-hand transaction. Like I think PG Knows posted something the other day and I was just like, yo, remember when we used to send money orders on ISS forums and stuff and just like hope in good faith that someone sends your stuff back? And I was just like, that was a crazy time. Like a lot of people don't remember that. You would literally have to go to USPS, buy a money order, ship the money order to the person that you're buying the shoes from, because there was like PayPal wasn't really a thing, or Venmo or Cash App or whatever it is, and just hope in good faith that that person sends the shoes back.
No, I remember I got scammed once on ISS. Forgot what shoe I was buying. I think it was a 06 grade 5. And it was like $220. And I was like, that's a good price for the shoe because they were going for like $350. Send the money order. Never got the shoe. And that's crazy that you had to trust people so much with sending the money and then thinking, even like, I think PayPal was solid, but
it was like bubbling, dude. It was like bubbling, and they charged you fees. There was no friends and family transaction. It was like, I don't know. It's funny. We've come a long way.
No, definitely. The sneaker game is just like, it's crazy how much it's changed. And then now like seeing like the progress and where it's at, because now if you do first come first serve, it's madness. It's literally madness.
Yeah, it's funny too because it's like it hasn't really changed. It's just evolved a lot. You know what I mean? It's like what did you wear today? Pictures are essentially your today's fit pick. You know what I mean? And like it's the same thing. It's just like a new way of doing it, I guess. But I don't know. I really miss the old days of like how fun it was and just like I don't know. Now I just feel like it's such a business, you know what I mean? It's not a community. It doesn't feel communal, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I remember Briss was talking to me saying like how you got into skating and doing all of this. From that transition, when did you start like where you were like obviously making connections within these brands and stuff? When did you start, I guess, working for Diamond, and how did that go about?
So it's funny because I discovered Diamond through the forums also. Like, do you remember Hypebeast forums?
Yeah.
And Nick used to start a Diamond thread. There was like a 100 thread, Diamond thread.
Okay.
I think like Triumvir was a brand. I'm trying to think of some older, like 10 Deep. And all these brands used to have like their own forum within ISS forums. And the brand owners would actually go in there and talk to people. And it's kind of funny, even that is like, back then when I was younger and I was looking at that stuff, I would just be like, oh, damn, it's crazy. Like Nick Diamond is in here spending his time like talking to us. But I think at the same time, now that I'm my own brand owner, I think he was at the same stage that I am right now. And, you know, it's probably crazy when kids think I'm talking to them on Instagram, but it's like they weren't that big yet, you know? So I discovered Diamond through the Hypebeast forums. I discovered like all the streetwear stuff that I loved as a kid. Like I still love some of those brands today, but I discovered all that stuff through Hypebeast forums, and that was like back then when MySpace was popping. And I remember I added Nick on MySpace, and he used to talk to me there, like through DM.
Sick.
And I was like so hyped. I was like, damn, like Nick Diamond talking to me. This is crazy. You know what I mean? He even used to send me promo before I even knew what promo was. I was just like, oh, dude, like he just sent me a box of stuff. You know what I mean? Like I would be so hyped. And I remember like, this was when I was living in Sacramento, but like obviously like I grew up in LA, like I grew up in Leimert Park, skating around there. My grandma lived in Marina Del Rey, so like that's how I initially got into skating was through my grandma living by the beach. They had a skate park at Venice Beach, and I moved back with my mom full time in Leimert Park, and I would take the bus because like Venice Beach Skate Park was like pretty much all I knew there in Culver City. There was not really a skate park in that neighborhood, but anyway. I used to come down to LA after I moved to Sacramento because I was like already like pretty old enough to know that like Sacramento wasn't it, you know what I mean? But my mom just like, we lived in the hood. We never had a house, you know what I mean? Like, we had like a 2-bedroom apartment. It was like me, my brother, my 2 sisters, my mom, my stepdad. So she's like, yo, like, let's get out of here. Like, we can get a house with a backyard and a pool. And it's like, you know, way cheaper than what we're paying here, you know what I mean? And, but I was living there and it was like a smaller scene. It's not LA, you know what I mean? And I just knew my heart was in LA. So like every school break, every time that I would go back to LA and just visit. And on one of my trips that I went back, I was just like hitting up Nick Diamond all the time because I was hanging out on Fairfax like every time I was here. And I was just like staying in contact with him all the time. And when I got back to SAC, I was like hosting clubs in San Francisco. And Ben Baller came up and like I was like hyped on that. I was like, damn, like Ben Baller, I get to hang out. Like this is when Ben Baller was like Ben Baller. Like you know what I mean? Like now he's like a family man. Like shout out to Ben. I love Ben so much. He's helped me out a lot through my career. But I told Ben, I was like, you know, he was like the homie when he would come to the club because I had told my homie to book Ben. I was like, yo, you got to get Ben Baller. Like he's the man, like blah, blah, blah. And Ben was like, you know, he just instantly like we hit it off and he was like the homie. And he asked me what my favorite brand was. And I was like, dude, like I love Diamond Supply Co. He's like, what? I'll have Nick come up here next week. So like they did it. We ended up doing like another party with Ben Baller and Nick happened to be in town. So he came to the party too. And like, I remember like, just like the first like interaction that I had with him, I was like, oh man, like it's Nick Diamond. And like he popped, like he had like a brand new like 7 Series Beamer or something. And I just remember him like popping the trunk and he like brought a bunch of like promo to give away at the party. And he was like, oh no, you get first dibs on all this. I was like, what? Like, bro, like this is so sick. And like I have the photo from that night too, like you know, like the first time like I officially like met Nick in person. And then you know, from there he kind of just like actually gave me his number. And I remember I went down to LA for an Agenda trade show. Like this is like way back in the day, like before Agenda was even like, you know, it's kind of dying out now, but like at a time it was really big, you know what I mean? And I had hit up Nick and I was like, yo, you at Agenda? And he wasn't there, but he linked me with this guy, Sean Apgar, who was like the sales guy and the team manager of Diamond Supply Co. And I kind of hit it off with him. So like, I don't remember how or what the time period was, but like, on one of my trips, or actually no, this is when I moved back to LA. Like, sorry, I'm skipping over a lot. I moved back to LA because I did junior college in Sacramento for like, I want to say like 6 months to a year, if that. And I was like, yo, this is not for me. Like, I got to figure something out, or I got to figure out a way to get to LA. And my mom was really pushing school. She's like, yo, you got to like either get a job or like you got to go to school. And I had a job, but I just wasn't like content with it. Like I think I worked at like a Zoomies or something just because I knew I wanted to be in clothing. And I convinced my mom to like figure out like a scholarship situation for me to go to the Art Institute in North Hollywood. And I remember it was like my first time like kind of living away from home. My mom was still living in Sacramento. Like most of my like immediate family was living in Sacramento. I didn't have much money or anything. Like I don't come from like a rich family or anything like that. And we figured out the school situation. So I hit up like my best friend Ty that I've known since like 3rd grade, and he's lived here his whole life. And I was like, yo, like, can I crash out on your couch a couple months? Like, I'm gonna go to school, and like, you think your mom would be cool with that? Blah blah blah. I'll only be there for like maybe like 3 months or something. You know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, for sure, we'll hold you down. So like, I moved back to LA just with like, you know, I didn't really have much. Like, I sold like damn near like all my shoes just to like, you know, fulfill my dreams, which is crazy. Just like crazy because I loved like so much stuff that I had collected over the years. I'm like, but I got to get to LA, you know what I mean? And like have money to eat or whatever. And I don't have to rely on my mom, you know, because I'm kind of grown now. So I moved back to LA. I did the art school thing for like, I don't know, like maybe like 4 months. And I was just like, I wanted to learn graphic design. I wanted to learn like Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop and things like that. And they had me in like math classes and like art history and like just like stupid stuff. Like, I mean, sorry anyone that's a art major out there, like not stupid stuff, but just like things that I wasn't really into. You know what I mean? I thought it was just gonna be like hop on the computer. Here's how to do this. Here's how to do that. But it was deeper than that. So I started ditching school every day. Like I started ditching school and going to Fairfax. And at some point I started hitting up Sean again. I'm like, yo, like I'm back in LA. Like, I would love to kick it or whatever. He would just be like, yo, I'm at the office. And this is when Diamond, they weren't that big yet.
Yeah.
This is probably like 2009, 2010.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Still this was when they were like in transition of moving from where Tried and True was to the new store, or where Huff was.
Yeah.
And I started hitting up Sean. I'm like, yo, like, we should kick it, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh yeah, like come by the office. And the office was on top of where the Hundreds is now. And dude, I used to go there, and I think one day I just started picking up stuff and helping. And he's like, yo, you want to come back tomorrow and help? So I would go every day. I was just like, oh yeah, school, like, you know, at school, like we're going to Diamond, you know what I mean? And my mom would call me like, yo, how's school? Blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, yeah, it's great. School's going great. And I did that. I would go to the Diamond office every day from like, I don't know, let's say like 10 a.m. to like, I think they would leave at like 4:35-ish. And I would just help them fulfill online orders. And this is like when Diamond's like bubbling. Like it's not the biggest thing in the world yet, but it's like bubbling. Like it's next up for sure. Yeah. So after a while with that, they were in the midst of like remodeling the store the store that Huff's in now, because like they before they moved to the bigger store that they're in now, they expanded the smaller store that that Huff is in. Yeah. And I would leave the office and I would walk to the store and just like sit on the bench in front of the store and just kind of hang out there every day, and just kind of came like just like a Fairfax kid, just like hanging out at the store every day. And then the same situation happened. I don't know if you guys remember Diamond Tones, but like Tony Tones.
Yeah.
Tony Tones, I got really close with him and Sagan and like all those dudes at the store. And one day they were just like, yo, like, you want to help out here? And like at the time, everyone that hung out on Fairfax was kind of like in an intern type of situation. Like everyone
like that
hung out would help, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kind of transitioned into the store at some point from the office, because I was hanging out there so much, and they were like needing some more employees because they were about to expand and make this like bigger store. And I think just through that, it was like a year or two that I did that. And just through that and like them seeing like me thug it out and the grit that I had showed of just like, you know, working for free. They actually gave me a job. Like, it's funny because the way that I started getting paid was that I was around for so long. Like one day, Tony brought up like, yo, we got to start paying YoungCorey. And Nick was like, wait, we don't pay him already? And I was like, nah, I haven't been getting paid. And he's like, what? Like, get him on payroll, you know what I mean? And it was like, you know, I never complained or like, cause I was just so happy to just be around something that I loved. You know what I mean? Like, of course it was hard. Like, I got paid in free clothes. It sucked. You know what I mean? It was slave labor, but I feel like, you know, obviously without that, I wouldn't be where I am today. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And I would just do whatever I could to get by. Like, I remember just selling like some of the Diamond stuff they would give me, like on my Facebook or things like that, just to pay my phone bill or eat at Jack in the Box. There was a point where I was like on EBT, like, I asked the homie, I'm like, yo, like, what should I do? Like, I don't really have bread to eat every day. You know what I mean? And I would just like, I went and signed up for an EBT card, food stamps or whatever. And I was running that up for a minute. And I wasn't ashamed of it or anything. I was like, yo, I'm living a dream. You know what I mean? And I was sleeping. And then on the flip side of that, like, I was sleeping on my homie's couch, which was supposed to be 3 months. It turned into like 2 years. And I'm sure him and his mom were like, they were so over it. You know what I mean? Because I was just there every day. It's like, imagine waking up every morning and there's just someone sleeping on your couch. You know what I mean? But it was crazy, like that moment when like I started getting paid, like I was just like, damn, like I really did this, you know what I mean? And like I moved out of my homie's house, got my own apartment in the Fairfax area, like probably like 4 blocks from Diamond. And like, I don't know, life just like, it became crazy real fast. I was like, damn, like I really did this. And I remember just calling my mom like, yo, like, I've been skipping school, you know what I mean? Like, I've been telling you that I've been skipping, and like, I don't know, I feel like it just all paid off, dude. Like I literally wouldn't be the person that I am. I don't think that I am today without like going through all of that. You know what I mean?
Facts.
No, it builds a character, definitely. And that's a cool thing that you bring up Diamond in the forums and stuff like that. Because I remember him being so active. I remember he would put out like, oh, this might come out and blah blah blah.
Do you
like,
remember the design a shirt contest?
Yeah, with the little Cuddy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I want to say Nick won that.
Yeah.
Yep. Nick designed Little Cuddy.
Yeah, I remember the little Cuddy. It was like a big thing, and he was so active, and I think even on drop days he would show up and film. I forgot what he was streaming on.
Yep.
And that made people feel like, oh shit, this guy's sick. You know, he's attainable.
Yeah, it's like it's what you like. What I tell kids nowadays is like when you're building a brand, you want to build community because it's like what you guys do here, right?
Yeah.
You guys have people that come here on the regular that I'm familiar with just because of you guys, and that's like. You know, that's you building community, even just doing a podcast or the TikTok or the YouTube. It's community building and it makes people feel a part of what you're doing. And that's one of the most important parts of building a brand.
Now, seeing Diamond, low-key, like, it's helped me, even being from, like, learning how to, like, work for free and all that stuff. I feel like it's helped us now that we're actually doing, like, you're doing your own brand, we're doing our own store. It's like it helps you build character, and it also makes you feel like I struggled through this, so whatever I struggle in here now, like we're gonna get through it, because I learned so much just from Nick being so like easy to get along with. I remember, I forgot what it was, what drop. I think it was like the black harassment tee.
Oh wow, that was a good one.
And
I have the white one.
Yeah, and we were lined up, and I remember I was wearing the Iron Maiden one that he got sued for. And I still remember because it was me and Manny lined up, and he came up to me and asked me like on camera, like, why do you like Diamond? And I was just like, bro, because of this. Like, you know, I literally was just like, because you're here, blah, blah, blah. Like, Diamond was crazy. Like, it was, to me, it was just like, it was very limited. And obviously, you had Supreme right there, and then the hundreds. But for some reason, I remember I was just like, Diamond's the brand that I'm going with.
Yeah. You see what's crazy? The crazy part about that is like, dude, I grew up like completely a hundreds kid, bro. Like I wanted to work for the hundreds so bad because like Bobby and the blog, like I felt like so a part of what he was doing, because it's the same thing, like kind of like Nick, like the blog. I felt like living in Sacramento and looking at the blog, like I felt like I was there, and like I knew these people that were hanging out there all the time because of the blog, you know what I mean? So like when I actually started hanging out there, I was like, oh damn, like, you know, that's Alex, or that's Switch, or that's Umi, you know what I mean? Like
everybody.
I knew everybody already. Tony, D-Gav Tony. And I think that's why I love Fairfax so much, man, because it was such like, it was just a big community. And like, if you were there, you're there, and like, you knew everybody, you know what I'm saying? And like, I don't know. I always wanted to work for the hundreds, but like, I'm glad that I ended up at Diamond, because like I made relationships and met people that, you know, I still talk to and love today. You know what I mean? And like, obviously I got to build relationships with the hundreds. Like, I remember I always wanted to be on Hypebeast, and it's crazy. The person that took my photo to be on Hypebeast for the first time was Bobby Hundreds. So like, how crazy is that? You know what I mean? Like as a kid, and like looking up to these guys, and like, you know, them becoming my peers, or like people that like I always tell people, like I trip out that like some of these people know me, you know what I mean? And like they know me by my first name. Like that's so crazy. Like, you know, 17-year-old Corey is like tripping out. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, because I remember going to Fairfax was a thing. Like you would see people, and you're like, you didn't want to feel like a fan, but stuff like that. Like you going into the hundreds, the smaller store. You would see
and all that.
You would see all of them, and you'd be like, I know you, but I don't know you. You know, like you felt the connection. And then even here and there, seeing a celebrity. I remember the old A-Life store, the one where you couldn't touch anything. I walked in and with Manny, and then Nas was just chilling there.
Bro,
and
I was just about to tell that story, bro. I don't even smoke weed, bro. I don't smoke weed at all, for the record. But me and my cousin went to an A-Life party there, and Nas was there, and Nas passed my cousin like the blunt, and then my cousin just like looked at me because he knows that I was smoked, but I was just like, fuck it.
It's Nas.
You know what I mean? Like this probably will never happen again, and like that's just crazy, dude. But like, it's crazy that you bring up A-Life. A lot of people forget that A-Life was on Fairfax, and they had the illest store. It was like the
Best
window
store.
where you order from, and like all the stuff on this, like the glass on the sides.
I remember when they moved to Cahuenga, that's when I kind of like was falling off in my eyes, because obviously you would go to Fairfax and that's what you wanted. But I remember their store was low-key the best store.
I loved their build out. I always loved the hundreds just because like the intricate storytelling, like, oh, there's these bones are here for a reason, or this dinosaur diorama thing is here for a reason. But yeah, dude, they definitely had a good store.
Nice. So we're gonna take a little break. We'll get back and continue with Corey.
Bro.
All right, we're back. Little break.
Good break.
On the break, we were talking about how
the diamond life.
The diamond life.
Diamond life, bro.
But how I remember one time specifically, Tony, he was lined up, and I think it was the black harassment. I could be wrong. Or
I think I remember that release. I think I remember this story from Tony's point of view. Honestly,
and I think he was like top 2, and we were like we're top 10, me and Manny. And same thing. It was Nick was there. It was a big thing. Any big release, Nick was always there.
Yep.
And I remember after that happened, it was first. I think it was probably like a super big line for him. And I remember he posted on Hypebeast forum saying like, we're hiring. Sending your resumes.
I think I remember that also.
And I remember the next week I saw Tony working there. And in my head, the only thing I thought about that, I was just like, damn, like this shit is possible. Like I could get a job here because I saw him lined up.
And then he's in the store working, selling shit to you.
Yeah. But what were some of your best memories or something that you recall and you're like, yo, like from the Diamond Life when you started working there like full time?
Honestly, man, I think it's just like the culture of Fairfax in a sense. Like, like living through it, I didn't think about it much, but like looking back on it, like, bro, like it was like the epicenter of streetwear. You know what I mean? It's like you got Tyler the Creator hanging out over here. You got, Jason Dill just posted up all the time. Now you see like Nakel and Tyshawn and Sage. Like, I mean, not even Tyshawn, but Nakel and Sage. And those kids, like, they're pro skateboarders, Lil Kevin, and they all used to just hang out. You know what I mean? And it's just crazy to be. I was around all of that, and everyone just kind of like, came to being a big thing, you know what I mean? And it's just like, those are all my friends and stuff till to this day. But like, it's crazy seeing Tyler win a Grammy Award. Like, he used to ride the bus to Fairfax and just like hang out all day with someone like me, you know what I mean? And it's crazy, bro. And like, even like Nick, like being around him, like I saw him come up, you know what I mean? Like I remember the day when he bought his first Ferrari, like he pulled it up to the block and I was just like, that's crazy. Like this dude bought a Ferrari off selling t-shirts and hoodies, you know what I mean? Like insane. And like, the cool thing about Nick, like I got to grow with him, you know what I mean? Like he introduced me to a lot of stuff, like nice dinners and going like even like club culture. Like I never I was in the club in San Francisco, but it was like 18 and over. But like when I turned 21 was when I was around Nick and like going to like the club and like bottle service and like just seeing that was insane, you know what I mean? And like getting to be a part of that and be a part of his success, like, you know what I mean? You don't get that opportunity a lot with a retail job, you know what I mean? Like you don't know your boss, you don't get to, like when you clock out, you're clocking out. Like Nick was actually like, he was in somewhat the homie and he always looked out, like, you know what I mean? Like if I was like, I was never short on rent or anything, but like if I was short on rent or something, like Nick was like a type of person I could hit up and be like, yo, like I don't have enough money this month. Like, can you help me out? And like he was more like a big bro type of figure. You know what I mean?
No, Sean would do that too, which is funny. In Hollywood, sometimes it never really happened to me, but I would see it with some of the employees. Be like, hey, I'm short on rent, and Sean just be like, bro, just take it, just write yourself a check, pay it back, work it off, or something like that.
Yeah, and I think when it's like that, you respect your workplace and your boss a little bit more because it's like, a lot of people feel like they're slaves when they go to work, and it's like if you're having a fun experience at work and you're happy to be there, I think the outcome is going to be more, like you take more pride in being there, and you want to continue helping to build something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, a big thing going back to Fairfax is like I remember me and Manny coming all the way from Southeast LA to this side. We felt like we were around people that were just like us. Because if you really think about it, that streetwear industry wasn't obviously as big as it is now. So going all the way to Fairfax was like we were so happy to be there because again you would see so much shit. Like
dude, like just even people like Anwar, man. Like Anwar, I feel like he's been like a fixture of like streetwear for so long, and like he would just be posted up. You know what I mean? And like. Obviously, he's my homie today. We've done a bunch of collaborations and things like that. But like just seeing him, you know what I mean? It was crazy.
And I remember even when Tyler first started even rapping and him bringing up like in his songs talking about all his homies. I was just like, oh, I know this kid. I know this, that, blah, blah, blah. And it was so cool just seeing how like Fairfax exploded into what it is now. Well, now it's dead because I went there yesterday.
I'm not a big fan of the new Fairfax.
No, but like what it became, I would say, because even seeing like how you said Lucas lining up for Supreme, I remember we would see him, Julian Berman.
Shout out to Julian.
Bro, Julian was always top 5 in line.
Yep.
And I remember I even told you in the break, I was just like, I thought Julian was like one of them, like one of their homies.
Like he worked there or
like,
something.
He looked like
he played a part.
Yeah. So then I remember I would be like, yo, who's it? And I was like 16. I was like, this guy got to be 25, 26.
Crazy.
And then I met him and I was just like, oh, shit, you're my age.
But it's cool, man. It's like, it's cool to see like, everybody from that time period and like to see them doing great things now and like, you know, continuing on with like being creative or like, but it's like so much has like blossomed from that block, you know what I mean? And from that time period, like everyone's doing something and it's like, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I even think like even stuff like that where you're saying everyone blossomed,
Uh-huh.
where like from what you're telling me, and even for like I would go line up a few times. It was like there was no real like ego there. Like everyone is still eating to this day.
Yeah.
Maybe because of from the stuff that they learned. And even going back to what you guys were saying, where like you saw like Nick as your big bro, and he saw Sean as his big bro, and in a way, like I see Syndicate as my big bro because they the same thing. It's like it's so crazy to hear that, and to hear his story because I'm like, damn, I'm going through the same shit. Like,
man, it's like one day you're gonna have your own syndicate.
Yeah,
and it's like
where it's like they're introducing me to everything.
Yeah.
Like they're introducing me to obviously going out, this, that, nice dinner. So I'm like, damn, bro, where it's like almost that same recipe that's like
you're circulating.
It works, you know? Yeah, that's a good little transition. Huh?
I think it's important, man, to like instill the like I think that's why like things like internships and things like that are important because you're learning, you know, the tools of the trade to like pass on to the next person, you know what I mean? And that's how things grow and that's how you create amazing stuff.
No, yeah, I think like what's it called? How do I say it? Like, it's not just the internship, it's who you're around. That's also going to help because, and that's one thing that like, I feel like right now we have Julian, little Julian. He used to work at Round 2 with us.
Yeah, I remember him.
And then now he's like, he asked me for a job and I'm like, yeah, pull up. And for him, I'm pretty sure he was around Sean, Russo and all the staff over there. And now coming here, he's going to be around us. And I always trip out. He's only 15.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I'm just like, yo, this kid, I've known you since you were 10.
Yeah, I remember when he was a little kid.
Yeah. But even with him, like he's hustling it out.
Yeah.
And with seeing him do that, like I see him come and it's that same thing where I've never gotten any of that vibe from Julian being like, yo, when you guys gonna pay me? Like he just I think it's the same thing. Like he just genuinely like loves
Excited
it and likes to be here.
Yeah,
you know?
and I think that's like how I am, and a lot of people always like say that about me is like I genuinely love this. You know what I mean? It's like kids always ask like, yo, how do I start a brand or how do I go about it? I'm just like, you gotta love this first. Like you can't be in it for money because you're gonna lose money and there's gonna be rough times, but you like, this is all I know. You know what I mean? Like I don't know anything else. And that's why I do it because I genuinely love it. Like if I could have free rent and eat every day for free, I would still do this, you know what I mean? For free because I love seeing things come to life and that's just me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it still excites me.
To this day.
Yeah.
And even like I can even relate to that where some people like obviously like I was doing my brand stuff, interning for Rude, like doing everything.
I remember that. That's
for
crazy.
free, bro. Like for
That's
free.
crazy.
And then for me, like people, how'd you do it? I'm like, bro, because I just love it. Like I would literally do it for free. Obviously, you know, thank God that it's paying off and like you know, I can live my life with what I'm doing.
I feel you.
But I think that's the thing where it's like, don't get in it just because like, oh, I can make money or like. Because my thing is like I was genuinely interested in everything. Like, how do I print a shirt? How do I embroider? And even with that, like I was like, okay, if I don't know how to do it, someone else knows how to do it. And I think that's where a lot of people sometimes they get, you know, a misinterpretation of a brand where it's like you have to really love it. You can't just be like, oh, I like making a shirt and that's it. Like, no, you gotta love everything about it. Like doing the shipping, doing the designs and everything, working for people for free.
And I think to your point is like when you start making money, you're like more grateful for it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like bro, I can't tell you how many times like, dude, I used to ride the bus and like it's embarrassing to even say like I used to go in my homie's house that I was staying at on his couch, and after people would come over and grab change like from under the cushions to ride the bus to go to Diamond, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. And it's like, dude, I live by my homie now that I used to stay on his couch in freaking Beverly Hills, and I drive a Benz to work every day. I mean, to wherever I have to go every day. And like, bro, there's some times where I sit in my car and when I pull up at home and I'm just like, yo, this is nuts. Like, this is really my car. And like, I'm about to go upstairs, like to my nice house. Like, I'm so grateful. You know what I mean?
You ever trip out on like how this started from just being genuinely into something?
Yeah.
Because that's what I trip out. It's just like,
damn, you just messed me up with that one.
yeah, it's just like you're just like it wasn't. We were never into it for money.
Yeah.
It was just like I'm into shoes. I'm into streetwear, and me going to Fairfax. Even like the opportunity to move to New York, it all became because I wasn't in it for the money. It was just because I was like, I like this stuff.
Yeah, that's why like I'm so grateful for everyone that supports me, and I say it a lot because it's just like, yo, like you're putting something out. Like I always tell this to people with having your own brand. You're putting something out in hopes that someone else likes it enough to buy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. And for people to support you enough to support yourself is like, that's the biggest blessing of them all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I feel like even now you can transition into your brand.
Yep.
Like, how did that come about, and like, what's the story behind it?
So previously I had another brand called Above Average, and obviously like it was doing well, and like you know, I loved it, but it just wasn't an official business. I feel like in a sense, like I wish I knew everything that I knew now back then, because I probably would be way more ahead in life than I am right now. But yeah, I had a brand called Above Average. It was just kind of like a learning experience, I guess, in a sense. Like I figured out how to screen print. I figured out how to use the programs. I figured out like how to sell to stores and like do this, that, and the third. But honestly, I hated the name first and foremost. Yeah. Like I thought it was the coolest thing in the world in the beginning when we first started it. Like me and my friend used to do a blog similar to Bobby Hundreds, and it was like called the Above Average blog. Then we kind of transitioned into making clothes, and then you know, we started getting into like little stores here and there, and it was dope. But I decided to end it, and I kind of just like, this was like towards like the end of my journey at Diamond. And when I stopped working at Diamond, my friend Vince Staples, he's a rapper. He's like, yo, like, or I said, yo, like, do you need any help on tour? Because like I'm out of a job now. And he's like, well, what are you gonna do? And I was like, I can make merch. So I kind of just like created a job for myself, because I don't think he was really making merch back then. This is like when he was like kind of first like coming up. And yeah, I quit Diamond, and I got to go on the road with him. And it was dope because I had never been anywhere outside of like Las Vegas. You know what I mean? I was like always stuck in California because I wasn't rich and I didn't have money to get on a plane, or I didn't even have a passport back then. And he was doing like a sprinter tour around the US pretty much. So I helped him design all the merch, helped him get it produced, and I actually sold it on the road. Like set up a table, there's your merch stand.
Vince,
So I got to experience tour, and this was like one of his like early tours. So it wasn't even a glamorous tour. It was like, we're all in a sprinter. We're staying at like cheap motels every day, like, you know, saving money and doing a show every night. It was the dopest experience ever. Like I was like, yo, I'm on the road with like all the homies, and like, you know, we're just like in a new place every night. You know what I mean? And, you know, even like just like selling merch every night, I took what I learned at Diamond, because I'm really personable. Like I can make friends really easy. I can spark a conversation with you really easy. And like, you know, that we're homies, you know what I mean? So like at the merch booths at the shows, I would just upsell. I would like see someone walking by, hey, how you doing? How you enjoying the show tonight? And I was just like helping like crush it on merch. Like I was selling out of stuff like some certain nights, you know what I mean? And that was a good feeling. So like I helped him grow his merch program from like, I think like nothing to like, you know, obviously he's Vince and he's popping anyway, but like I helped him a little bit grow his merch program, and the tours start getting bigger, obviously. And I got to go on like a nicer tour where we had like the actual tour bus with the beds, and like, it was like the Rocky and Tyler and Danny Brown tour. And like, we had nice hotels every night, and like ill catering, and just like living really nice. You know what I mean? And I did that tour, and I think that was like my last tour, just because like I was still trying to figure out how to build something on my own. Because I was like, oh, this is cool, but I kind of feel the same way that I did towards the end at Diamond. Like I'm helping someone else build up their dream instead of like working on something for me. You know, if I stay at this rate, then I'm just gonna keep working for someone for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? So I stopped doing that. Stopped actually going on tours. I continued to help with the merch and the production of the merch. And I was kind of just bouncing around after that in LA, just like, yo, you need production done? I got you. Oh, you need some design done? I got you. You know what I mean? Sick. I was just like any homies or people that I had met throughout my journey, I was like hitting them up like, oh, I know how to print shirts, or like, I know how to do this or that. And just like whatever I could do to pay my rent every month, you know what I mean? And I was getting unemployment at the time too from Diamond. So I was helping out a little bit. But yeah, I was bouncing around for a little bit, and I was also like super heavy in the club because like one of my homies that I met when I was like partying through Diamond and stuff, this kid Tav, he was a club promoter. So I would go out with him every night, and this is like during the era of like influencers, like YouTube influencers, and like Vine was popping, like all the, like when the word influencer was like really becoming a thing, you know what I mean? And he was the plug for all the influencers to come to the club because you know, even because his brother was like a big club promoter in Vegas, and he kind of put on top to be the guy in LA. And yeah, all the YouTubers were coming out to the club, so I was making connections with them, and they're having 1 billion followers on this, big YouTube followings and things like that. So I was like kind of tapping in with them, and I'm like, yo, y'all need merch, you know what I mean, and like kind of helping with that. And it came a point in time where we met this guy. His name was Alex Hawkers, and he was from Spain. And he had just like started this sunglasses brand called Hawkers. And they were just like, he had like crazy funding, and he was like super smart with like marketing, I think like Facebook marketing or something like that. And when we met him, he was like, yo, like I'm looking for some people to come join my team to help me work here in LA because I'm moving like operations to LA. So I kind of got a job with him. He was paying me super good, and I was helping him with like merch and like event planning and booking models for photos, anything I could do to get paid. And he was like my second coming of Nick Diamond because he was like living a lavish lifestyle, like had an ill house. Like I think at one point in time, like I was like I had to move out of my old apartment because like I was down bad on money a little bit before I met him. So he would rent these like crazy mansions that he would stay in while he was in LA. He was like, oh yeah, just come stay here and just like make sure the pool gets clean and you could live here for free, and I'll pay you on top of like already helping me work. So I worked for him for a little bit, and that was really dope because I got to learn another side of the business, like marketing and like how to put together photo shoots and call like modeling agencies like, yo, I want to book this person, event planning. Like we used to throw a lot of parties and stuff, like how to do that. And yeah, I did that for like a couple years. And that same feeling came back. I'm helping somebody else build their own thing. Yep. So I don't know, for some reason, one day I got in an argument with Alex, and I was like, man, I could build my own brand. And he was like, do it. If you could build your own brand, I'll give you $10,000 if you pop off or something like that, something crazy like that. And I'll even give you the money to help you start it or whatever. So like at the time, there was this kid I knew that would come by the house a lot. And he was selling Instagram handles. Like this is when Instagram was like the handle business was crazy, like selling a website domain, you know what I mean? And he had like crazy names like Pikachu and Inglewood and just Adele, Northwest, like things like that. And I remember running through his list, and I seen the word Circulate, and I was like, damn, that's kind of sick. Like Circulate, because I wanted a one-word handle. And I thought back on it, I was like, damn, it's really interesting, like how a piece of clothing circulates. And I mean, like you guys know that better than anybody. Like I wear these shoes right now, and I'll bring them to Syndicate, then you sell them to somebody else, and then it's just moving around. You know what I mean? And I thought that was really cool. And I also thought about like, obviously like your graphics, like you're circulating a message within the graphics, and I could do like different themes and things all the time and circulate different messages, and I wouldn't be locked into like your brand being just about one thing, you know what I mean? And yeah, that's kind of how Circulate was born. When I first started it, I did like a collection that had like a bunch of like plants and like flowers and things like that, because I felt like the theme would be like growth. And I was kind of confused. I still didn't know what the brand was about. I just knew how to do graphic design and print shirts. So it took a while to get to where I am now, like with it. But yeah, that's how it was born. Yeah.
And I even think with that, like just showing that growth where you could have been at Diamond and be like, all right, I'm lit, like I'm living the life. But you took that like nah, let me get back into it.
Yep.
And you grind it out once again. And then you could have been like, I'm with Vince, I'm lit, blah, blah, blah. Again, you did the same thing. But and obviously
I guess
now
I was never content.
Yeah.
you know, like, but
I
that's
never thought
something-
about that. I never thought about it like that.
That's something that people can take back home is like, you know, you're always like, even me and Briss, like we're talking behind the scenes where I'm like, yo, what's next? Like, you know, where we talk and because I see like, I kind of have that like hunger, like, all right, like we got this. Okay. What are we doing next? Like, and even with the Circulate thing, you were always low key circulating through everything. Like, and that's what I'm like taking from it is like, it's like even has something to do with you where that's like a personal story for yourself where you were always moving around onto the next thing, what's next and growth. So is there anything like that you have planned that you want to do with your brand or like any new projects that you're working on?
I got a couple of projects. I don't know if I could talk about them yet, but there's some stuff coming out in the next couple of months that I'm like super excited for. Obviously, like I sell to PacSun, which is like pretty insane.
Yeah.
Like the PacSun thing to me is crazy because like I'm in like I think like 114 doors like across the U.S., which sounds insane. Yeah. But like when I'm making stuff and like sending it in and like you know I'm only going to see it at the LA store, so I don't ever think that like oh damn this is like you know
everywhere.
in Anchorage, Alaska or something like that. You know what I mean? Because I don't physically see it, but like when I talk about it, I'm like damn that's actually crazy, and you know, for the most part, I'm just a one-man team at Circulate. So, like, being able to say that and, like, you know, doing that is, like, crazy because, like, it just shows you, like, you don't need, you know, a big team or a fancy office or, like, all the bells and whistles to, you know, make it in this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's all crazy to me, bro. Every day that I get to wake up and be myself, like, I trip out because it's just like it's a blessing, bro. It's crazy that I get to do what I love every day to support myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw your post of like your first office and then what it is now.
Yeah.
To me, that like motivated me when you posted that. I was just like, yo, like this is crazy when you started Circulating now to where you're at now.
Got all kind of furniture and stuff.
It's like really nice. So what were some of like the I would say steps while you're building your brand that you were like, oh shit, I'm going in the right direction, where like, you know, like a kid that would hit you over and be like, how do you start a brand? What were for you personally some steps where you're like, oh, I worked with this person, or I worked with this, where you were like, oh shit, this is going somewhere?
Honestly, bro, I think for me, my case with like starting a brand is a little bit different because like obviously I was around Fairfax and stuff like that, and I built a streetwear following off that. Like going to a brand, I think a lot of kids don't have that luxury to like start off with some sort of a following. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I always tell kids that hit me up like the best advice that I can give you is to just do it, because I mean, shout out to Nike, but like. That's the best advice I can give you, because everyone's situation is just that, situational. It's like you could be in the right place at the right time and start something and for it to boom off. You know what I mean? But you never will know what you are doing wrong or what you should do if you don't try to do it. You know what I mean? And that sounds really cliche, but it's like it's real. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I don't know. I see Circulate like sometimes I get like clouded because I see a lot of people I know or my friends just like popping off, like going straight to the moon. But I always remember like I just want to take this like slow and steady, because I want to be around forever. I want to be Stussy or Supreme or whatever it is. You know what I mean? I don't want to be just like a burnout brand that's hot right now and people don't care about it later. Like I'm trying to create like timeless design that, you know, like I'm a t-shirt nerd, I'm a sneaker nerd. Like I look to older pairs and older things more than I look forward to newer stuff. You know what I mean? So like I want people to feel that way about my brand. Like I want people to collect Circulate shirts and pull it out years later like a Rogue Status gun show tee and be like, oh damn, remember this? This is so sick, and be hyped on it. You know what I mean? Instead of just like living through something in the moment where it's just like that's just hot for right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, that's really good. What's it called? What was I gonna ask you? Yeah. Oh fuck, I forgot. I was gonna ask you something about the brand.
Yeah. Is there anybody like that you are looking to collab with, whether it's like a brand or like an artist?
I mean, I think everybody knows this one. It's like, bro, I need a shoe, bro. Like, I need that. Like,
I want it right now. Do your pitch.
I mean, I want it so bad, but like I would probably say like a year or two ago, like I was super stressing on it. Like, man, I need to get a shoe. I need to get a shoe. Why aren't they hitting me? Like, what's up with that? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm doing everything right. But like now, I like obviously I still want it. That's like high up on my goals list just in life, just to get a Nike shoe, whether it be Nike or Jordan or Nike SB, whatever it is. Just because I feel like that was my gateway into all of this, and it just like it means so much to me.
Yeah.
But like now at this point, like I'm not stressing it anymore. Like if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then like life, you know, will still move on. But yeah, that's like my ultimate goal is to have my own shoe. I feel like at this stage in like streetwear, you see a lot of brands and like how much a sneaker collaboration propels them to the next level. You know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, I've done like the NFL and I've done, I'm trying to think of the stuff that I've done. I've done like Vice. I did something with Sean. Like I've done some big collaborations, and like I think if you look at the work, like I can hold it down. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I've proven my worth when it comes to collaboration. But yeah, man, I just need that shoe. Like that's my trophy. Like I always tell people, like a lot of this stuff is just work sometimes. Like when I'm working on it, it's just work. But I feel like that one is like the one, if I get it, I'm like, oh damn, I'm actually doing something. You know what I mean?
That's like the Grammy right there.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely like my Grammy. Like if I get a shoe, I would be like, oh man, like I made it. You know what I mean? Obviously there's a new ceiling that's gonna come after that. Like I always like talk to Tyler about things like this. Like I'm like, oh man, like you killed it. Like you got a Grammy, you know what I mean? Or like you got 2 Grammys now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I want a Nike shoe. And he's like, you're going to get it. And then after that, you're going to have a new ceiling of something you could do. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, like I really feel like I could do it, and I feel like it's going to happen. But like also like, I just had to tell myself like, stop stressing on it, or like stop. Like if it's for you, it'll come to you. You know what I mean? Like keep doing what I'm doing, and like I feel like it'll come.
No, yeah, with longevity, and that's good because like you could want something and go to the moon, and then you're just like, what's next?
Yeah,
like you blank out. And just being consistent, and then going back to your journey. It's almost the same thing when they tell us, oh, you should open the sneaker store in 2014, 2012, 2013, and I'm just like, if I would have opened a store back then, should have been closed.
Yeah, you'd be burnt out by now.
Well, not even that. What I learned through my journey helped me.
You needed those extra years to do that.
It's like the luxury of like working with Jeff and Ed, working with Sean and Russo, working with Danny and Simon at District 1. It's just like I learned through these guys so much that like when I opened this store, it's just like, this is why people say, oh, you make it look easy. And I was just like, bro, I put pain in to learn everything.
That's like me, bro. That's why I always like how you just asked me about my journey and how I worked all those different jobs. I feel like each step of what I've done in my life through work, I've learned everything that I apply to my brand now. Like, it's like I worked in e-com at Diamond. Like, I know how to run an e-com business now. Yep. I worked with Alex with Hawkers through marketing. I know how to do marketing stuff now. I worked with Vince through his merch. His manager taught me about like P&Ls and like more logistical business things, you know what I mean, that I apply to my business today. And it's like, I had to go through all that to get to here, you know what I mean? And it helped me out so much. I wouldn't know how to run a business if it wasn't for each of those steps.
Yeah, facts. And I think people learn that towards the, like, once they have it on their own, because you're like, fuck.
Because you're in the kitchen.
I know why they did this. Now I know why they did this. And that's what I realized a lot when even interning for Ru. I'm like, okay, now I know why he has interns.
Yeah.
Okay, now I know why he did this. And even with them, I'm like, they're showing me parts of the business that they don't probably even know about it. But I'm just like, you know, a student of the game where I'm looking and listening to everything that like everyone is doing because there's stuff to learn from it. And even going back to the Nike thing, like you can get a Nike shoe and then that might be when you really start, because they might be like, all right, bet, did well. Now we need you to design this. And you might be like, oh, shoot, like, you know, but you never know. Like that might be the next ceiling, the next thing you go on to, which I hopefully, and, you know, congrats.
Yeah, I really want to do apparel with them too, man. I feel like they lack in apparel at times. Like I think Jordan's been doing a really good job with their collaborators with the apparel, but I really want to do an apparel collection to pair with the shoes. Or I'd be down to do apparel just to start off, you know what I mean? I think it would be cool. But yeah, I definitely want to get in the building with Nike. Like one of my favorite companies. I love their advertisement. I love, like, obviously I'm a sneakerhead, so like that's easy. But like I actually got to visit the campus and I was just so fascinated about like how everything works and like the different office buildings. They're just like, I think they're like the greatest storytellers ever. And that's kind of how I do my brand. I love storytelling. So like, you know, being aligned with someone like Nike would be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I guess that was pretty good. We might need a part 2, low key. There's a lot of stories here.
We'll take a break and then we'll close it out.
Yeah.
All right, we're back.
Let's go.
Yes, Sirski.
So you
couple
brought some
shoes.
stuff. Can you tell us what you brought and why?
Yeah, let's go in let's do it in order.
All right, whatever you want.
Some heaters right here.
By like what they mean to me. All right, so one of my first pair of or like not my first pair, but like one of the first like expensive like meaningful pairs that I ever got was I got some Bucks, and I bought them at like a Crossroads, because like I used to go to this Crossroads in Sacramento, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Omar Salazar.
Yeah, the skater.
But he's from, or he lived in Sacramento. I don't know if he's from there, but he lived in Sacramento, and he skated for Nike SB. And I don't know how true it is, but there used to be a rumor that he would drop his shoes, his like old shoes and stuff off at Crossroads. So I would find all kind of stuff there. But like one of the first like expensive SBs that I found there was a pair of Bucks. And, you know, I try to always keep this isn't the original pair that I had. I've obviously been through a couple. I used to skate. I think I skated a pair, but yeah, I had to bring the Bucks. These are like one of my favorite pairs. They bring back like great memories and like just remind me of that time of like, you know, getting a $500 plus SB back in the day. And yeah, I don't know. You guys remember when they used to unstitch the B and write fuck?
Yeah.
Son.
I remember all those ISS posts.
People used to black it out with a Sharpie or unstitch them. Yeah. But yeah, this is like one of my favorite SBs. Wasn't Phil Knight's nickname Buck, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So that in itself also was a great story, and like I'll forever have a pair of Bucks in my collection.
Yeah. You said you would skate a lot. What would be the first part you would blow out on the shoe?
Dude, always, because I flick a lot, like kick flips, 360 flips, like always like the front like side of the toe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember I skated like Bucks. I skated a pair of Heinekens. I skated a pair of Tekashis.
Easy.
Oompa Loompas, Purple Pigeons. Like I gotta find those photos and send them to you guys. But,
yeah, so we can put them on the.
But I used to, but yeah, I used to like. I thought it was cool that you could skate dunks. You know what I mean? And like the prices were like back then, like you know, obviously now people are paying like 10,000.
Yeah, people don't care.
40,000, 50,000 for pairs dunks. Yeah. Back then, $1,000 sounded like a lot of money. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it was low key a flex to skating your dunks, especially if I got them for the low or I was rocking Beat Heat, whatever it was.
Still fresh.
And then unluckies were like probably like my like I think like my fifth pair of like rare dunk that I had, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And yeah, I've always kept a pair of unluckies too. These actually are 9.5. My cousin gave these to me. I had my size back in the day, but yeah, I got these probably like 6 years ago from my cousin. He's just like, yo, I got these in my closet. I don't want them. And he gave them to me. So they just been kind of sitting in my collection. I don't even have the box, but they just remind me of like that old time of like SB. Yeah. I always wanted the Luckies, the all gold ones, but I never had them.
I never had those either, Luckies. DC's probably had them.
DC? Sold them because they started to peel. That's what he said. Bomba glot. It'd be like that, I guess.
So these ones, super special, man. Like Heinekens are like in my top, like, oh, that's hard though. Like probably like my top 5 SBs ever. Like I just love the colorway and just like back in the day, man. If you had a pair of Heinekens, you were on. Like how much were Heinekens going for back in the day? Like when they first dropped,
like 7, 6.
Yeah, bro. Like insane. Like this was like this was like something that wasn't like obtainable like whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like I remember I don't know if you remember my friend like Matt Santos and his brother Jeff. They were like the king of SB like back in the day. You might remember them. Like
that name sounds
Matt
familiar.
Santos, little Filipino kid. Yeah. Bro, like he was the first person I ever seen in real life with Heinekens on, and like he was so deep in SB and had so much stuff that he wrote his girlfriend's name like all over the shoe. Like he had like ketchup stains and like he just didn't give a damn about like I remember he was in a Soul Collector magazine skating a pair of Paris dunks. Like they used to just do like ignorant stuff with SB. Like I remember his brother like when the Supreme dunks dropped, his brother like pulled up to Supreme wearing one of each of the dunks on his feet already, and like walked out with like 2 pairs like easy. Before they opened or something. Like they used to just do crazy stuff like that. But like Heinekens, man, like always hold a special place to me just because like these were like the hardest to get like back in the day. So keep a pair of those on me too at all times.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's one of the best SBs and also low key one of the most faked SBs.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of fakes now, which is like it's scary, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, I mean, even off, like we were looking at everything that people are making, and it's like, bro, I didn't even know they were going that hard.
Yeah, I probably wore this pair probably like, I don't know, probably like 10 times max. Like it's got all the stars there.
Yeah.
Still a pretty good pair. But I'll probably never sell them. Like I forgot to bring my uncles, but uncles are another one that is like in my top 5 and like
Sick.
There's like rumors circulating that funny.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Bar.
bar. But that they might come back or do another collab.
Yeah, they're supposedly not SB though.
Yeah, it's
I
just
see
regular?
Nike
This
SB
is
like
dunk?
troll. Yeah, it's just a dunk, which won't hold the same weight.
Nah,
Like,
it wouldn't at
come
all.
up with a new story, man.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What else we got?
we love Heineken's, man.
Pink box.
This one's an extra special pair, man.
There we go.
Diamond Dunks. This is probably like I think this is like my 3rd pair.
Yeah.
But this one's actually in my size. Like I had a size 8 at one point, like back in the day. It didn't fit me. And then I had an 8.5 that I got for the low from someone when I was actually working at Diamond, and it didn't fit me, and it pained me to sell because like I was just like, damn, I can't wear them. I think I squeezed my foot into it one time just to get the picture off.
Yes, sir.
But I had to sell them, and then I finally got a pair like probably like 4 or 5 years ago in my size, and like I'll never sell these. Like it just means so much to me, like being a part of Diamond. Like I didn't work there when the Tiffany's originally dropped. I got to work there when the high tops dropped. But just like, man, I remember when this shoe dropped, like I had my cousin line up at 9 Star, and they did the Tiffany drop, and it was the Tiffany's and the Vapors, and he lined up, and he wasn't able to get me a pair, and he came back with Vapors. He's like, I got you Vapors instead. And I was just so bummed. Like I think I actually like almost cried, or like literally cried, because I was just like, fuck, man, like I need that shoe. Like it means so much to me. And it's actually funny that Vapors actually resell for a lot now, because I was so bummed on those. Like I think I skated them, but super hyped that years later I'm able to own this shoe, man. Like Nick really killed it on this, bro. Like one of my favorite shoes ever. No. My favorite shoe ever is the Paris Dunks. Like I've never owned a pair, but I really want a pair, but I'll never drop a house on some shoes.
Nah.
And then my second favorite shoe is Reese Forb Denim Dunks, the low top ones. Seen them in real life a couple times. Never owned a pair. I've came across a pair for sale, but they were $15K, and I was like, I can't bring myself.
Insane, bro.
You know me, like for me, like coming from being poor, like the thought of spending $15,000, like I'm really frugal when it comes to money. Like it takes a lot for me to spend money on something. Like I have to justify why I need it, and that's why you don't see me like a Rolex or any of that crazy stuff. Is because like I don't know, spending that much money on something, and like a pair of shoes, that sounds nuts. You know what I mean? Like I could feed my family for a whole year with that money. So
Literally.
I don't know. Unless I find a pair for like $1,000, like you see your boy with any of those.
Yeah.
Well, if they ever come in, just bring trades.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta do.
I don't know. Like, I feel like Michael Jordan is responsible for like getting me into sneakers. Like, I wouldn't be into any of this stuff if it wasn't for Jordan.
Yeah.
So, I got the chance to come up on a pair of 1994 Bred Ones, actually from Murad in the Rift days. This is before the hype, before everyone cared about, it's old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually bought these off of him. They were like VNDS for like $350, I think. They were like pretty new. Obviously, I wore the hell out of these. Like the soles coming off.
Show the camera that. Right
no
here.
tread.
The back.
Oh yeah.
The heel. Yo,
Yeah, these things have been through a lot. I don't really wear them anymore. I have 2001s. 2001s are my favorite year of one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it was like something really cool to have. I really love the box. And yeah, that's just a special pair to me. I'll always hold on to these.
Yeah. Shit, bro.
One of the best, like, biggest reasons I was like, yo, Corey has to come on is because, like, you have actual stories with these shoes.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh, Travis wore them or stuff like that. Obviously, you've been around for way longer, but you actually have, like, the Bucks, the Tiffany's, like, and that's what's cool about, like, the sneaker game, and it shows, because it's like, we even with our shoes, we're like, we have stories with these shoes on why we like them and stuff like that. I
always like kick myself in the head because, like, obviously, like, you know, Nike hooks me up, Jordan hooks me up here and there, but it's like, I was like I never knew about seating until obviously now, but I'm like, damn, man, like how crazy would it be back in the day to get seated a pair of like, you know, Paris dunks. Like there's probably people that were on a seating list for that. Like that's so crazy to me to think about. But like, yeah, I love the old shoes because there's like all the nostalgia that comes with it, or like it's like a song, right? Like certain songs bring you back to a certain time, or like, you know, for me it's like seeing a certain pair of shoes, it brings me back to a certain time period, or you know, a certain era, like, you know, skating memory or whatever it is, you know, camping out story, you know. So I think that's why I love shoes so much, just because like I kind of grew up with shoes, and like it just the memories that are attached with them. And just the moments, like obviously like I'm not in the same era as Michael Jordan. Like I'm more of a Kobe Bryant. I grew up with Kobe Bryant, but like Jordans hold a different memory for me. It's just like the friendships that I made, or just memories like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's sick. You have any let's say advice for like the kid coming up in this industry that you would want to say to the camera? Like, yo, like any advice of like from you?
I would probably say just like be really true to yourself, always remain humble, and network as much as you can. Like not in a thirsty way either. Like don't just network with people because they have something that you don't have. Like genuinely like network with people and build relationships and hold those relationships tight. Like, you know, continue them and check in on your people, and you know what I mean, don't use people. Like you know, always bring something to the table, and just hold relationships close and dear to your heart, because we're at a point in time where I feel like relationships are superior to everything. They can open a lot of doors for you. You don't even have to be great at something, but you can have a great relationship with someone, and that'll take you to another place.
No, well, it's definitely who you know.
Yeah.
Definitely, that is always true.
It's always like, I say like, a good example of that is like, I mean, he's done something bad, but Terry Kennedy, like back in the day, like he had relationships through skateboarding, and like he wasn't the greatest skater, but he turned pro and like did a bunch of stuff just because he had great relationships with people.
And even Rob Dyrdek, same thing, where he was like, I didn't have that many clips, but I just knew how to market myself. I knew how to do this. He knew so many people, like you know, I think that definitely goes a long way.
I mean, honestly, to all the kids out there, stop starting brands if you don't really want to start a brand. We need more people that are doing taxes. We need more plumbers. We need more lawyers. We need all that. Like stop starting a brand and just doing it just to do it.
Yeah.
Facts. So that's a good way to end it. Thank you, Corey. You killed it for your first podcast.
Thank you, bro.
Your boy was nervous through all of that.
Yeah, let us know if we need a part 2.
Yeah, let us know.
I'm pretty sure he has a lot of stories.
Yeah, it's hard to fit in 10 plus years into an hour.
Yeah, literally.
Nah, thank you guys so much for having me. Like, you know, I've known you guys for so damn long. Like, I've known you through damn near every store you worked at. And, like, to see you have your own store is, like, so inspiring, dude. Like, for real, I don't know if I tell you that enough, but, like, so sick. And, yeah, I'll come here whenever you want me to.
Always.
There we go. Like, comment, subscribe, all that. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.
Peace.